Hey folks, my name is Zach Evanesh. I am the strength and performance coach over at Middletown High School South. And I wanted to put together a super short, kind of brief introduction to what we have at High School South for strength and conditioning, which is our sports performance program. I'm going to do a screen share with you so you could see a Google slide where I just break down what we're doing. So if your son or daughter is involved in athletics, you have a good idea of what to expect and what they'll be going through over at the high school. And I'm recording this right now in August of 2020. So we understand that things are a little bit uncertain, but we're going to try to bring as much stability as we can through all of the aspects and, of course, through the strength and sports performance program. So I'm just going to minimize this right here, share the screen. And now we're in it. So got my email here. If you've got any questions after watching this or even any questions during the school year, please reach out. If you have concerns, the way I try to explain to parents is I'm not just the coach of your son or daughter, but I'm also a father. So I've got two kids. And when I look at coaching, I look at it at a much deeper level than strength and conditioning or put muscle on or get fast or get more explosive. I look at how would I want my own son and daughter to be trained by somebody else so that they're learning life skills that go beyond the sports. So if you have questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to me. All right. Let's see. Overview. So this is a sports performance program for all the athletes in the school, the boys, the girls, from every sport. And the way we organize things is according to the fall, winter, and spring sports schedule. The sport coach and I get together. We organize a 45-minute training block in the off season. If it's the in season, sometimes those training sessions are just 25 minutes. Sometimes those training sessions are not even in the weight room. They might be outside on the baseball field, the softball field, the football field. It might be indoors on the basketball court. So it really depends on the time of year and what the goal is and what we need to work on with that specific team and with your son or daughter, respective to what sport they're playing. Each season, we try to really be as fair as possible and not have a locked-in time of the same schedule for the same sport. So, for example, in seasons athletes, we like to give them the priority. So the coach of the in-season sport might decide, hey, I would like my kids to come in for a quick 20 to 25-minute workout with you. Those in-season workouts are focused, number one, on complementing the sport. I always say the sport is the biggest priority, so the training should feed the sport. It should never take away. So depending on that sport is the kind of training that those kids would get. So if it's a field sport who's doing a lot of sprinting, a lot of running, a lot of jumping, we're not going to be doing a lot of that stuff in the weight room or on the field because we're going to overtrain that specific aspect. So I'm going to train in a complementary manner. It'll probably be speed and power work, and it'll be training always, number one, with the goal in mind of building athleticism and trying to reduce chances of injury. I tell parents, and as a father of athletes, I know that there's no such thing as injury prevention. In sports, nothing is absolute. So what we do is we try to prepare the body and the mind as best as possible for all of the, kind of unknowns that will happen during practice, during games, home and away. So each season will be a different time slot for the kids. And if it's not immediately after school, then we kind of recommend to the kids, hey, try to get your homework done after school, or maybe you go home, get your homework done, get some food, then you come back for a later training session. And in a nutshell, the best athletes I've worked with, they do this sports performance, this strength and conditioning year round. If they don't do it year round, then they experience the roller coaster effect. They get faster, stronger, more confident, then they stop training. They lose the traits they've worked for, and then they start again, and we have to kind of go on this up and down roller coaster. So the most successful athletes have a consistent schedule of 2 to 3 days a week, and in the off season, We like to go 3 days a week. It depends on the sport. It depends on the coach. And also, this is voluntary. It's not mandatory. So the kids have to really organize their schedule, whether it's blending academics with maybe they're working after school with they're part of a sport club. I know that there's a lot of things for them to juggle. So I really encourage the kids, listen, if you're short on time, things are hectic, let me know when we start the workout, and maybe instead of you training 45 minutes, you train 25 minutes and you get in something. And the way I like to view that is showing up and getting half of that training session in is 100% more than zero. The other thing that I want to say with regards to the sport coach organizing the in-season and off-season schedule, sometimes the sport coach is coaching multiple sports and has a hard time getting a hold of kids from a team that's off-season. And then in that case, I'm kind of floating around during lunchtime in the cafeteria, connecting with the kids and trying to get some of the kids to organize team training, and then we put them on a schedule. All of the training, if you look down here at the bottom bullet, is age-appropriate training. So what does that mean? We have 3 things. I'm going to break them down real quick for you. We have the biological age, which is what does the body look like? What stage of maturity is the body going through? So we have some kids that are freshmen that weigh 110 pounds. We have other freshmen that weigh 210 pounds. So the biological age of those 2 kids is completely different, and they will maybe doing a similar movement pattern. One kid might be ready for a back squat. The other kid might be doing a bodyweight squat, a dumbbell squat, a kettlebell squat. We have the chronological age, which is, are you 14? Are you 15? Are you 16? So the chronological age gives us an idea of what the body is ready for, but then the biological age really tells me what is the body capable of. Because if you're 14, and even though you might look like you're 17, you're probably not ready to do what a 17-year-old can do in the weight room unless you have, this last thing here, a high level of training age. Training age is simply your experience in training. So I've been coaching athletes since 1995, and since 2002, it's basically been my full-time job. I've been at Rutgers, I've been at Lehigh, I've worked with special forces soldiers, but the majority of my training has been the middle school, high school, and collegiate level. And so I've trained thousands of kids. And so when I work with an athlete starting in middle school, and I could build him or her up, by the time he or she is in high school, even though they're only 14 or 15, if a high school kid has not had the training experience they have, the athlete I've trained since middle school has better technique, better coordination, better emotional readiness to handle the stress of training and how to maintain technique during struggle. So all of the training is organized by the team, but inside the group setting, we have the group for the energy, but then there's a lot of individualized training that's going on amongst the group. Very similar to what's going to happen in a classroom. The teacher might have somebody who's grasping the subject a little faster, challenge that student more. That's how it's going to be, whether I'm training them indoors or outdoors. Let's see what we got. The next one. Something that I'm going to speak about with the kids is excellence in all areas of life, not just athletics. So I'm tough on these kids the same way I'm tough on my own kids, in that if you're not doing great in your academics, in your social life, then things are going to be off center. So I'm going to talk to the kids about a lot more than just how to get stronger, how to get faster. Basically, strength and conditioning is a vehicle for excellence in life because it teaches them how to be committed in and out of the weight room. It teaches commitment in multiple areas versus just one area. So you see here, I talk about be great at everything you do. It's actually much easier than just being great in this one segment. So social life, athletics, nutrition, and overall lifestyle. So the training is not just geared on sports, it's geared on life as well. I have a real small PDF packet that I email the coaches. The coaches can email that to you. And when we get to school, I'll have a 1 sheet paper front and back with real basic, simple nutrition guidelines that will be a tremendous impact on their results that they get from training, on their energy levels, on their ability to focus. It'll even have a positive carryover to their academics because they're not going to be hungry and they're going to be feeding their body quality food. In a nutshell, we want 3 meals by 3 p.m. We want breakfast, have a natural breakfast, not something that's frozen or something that's in a wrapper. So we're going to have breakfast. We're going to have lunch. Preferably you pack your lunch or you order a healthy lunch, and there should be some fruit in that lunch. Then you're going to eat when you come home from school. So that's your 3rd meal by 3 p.m. That could be dinner leftovers. It could be something similar to lunch. If you have sport practice, then you could have some trail mix. That's always a good quick snack right before sports because you get some protein, some carbs, and some healthy fats. Then you're going to have dinner, whatever's made at home. And that dinner should be a blend of protein, carbs, and fats. There should be some vegetables on that plate. And then late evening, you might have a snack. You might have dinner leftovers. You might make yourself a protein shake. It might look like breakfast again. It could be anything that we've already had during the day. Kids who start eating like this, we see a tremendous change in basically they're building lean muscle. They're not putting on body fat. And you have to remember, for the moms and dads and our caretakers, kids in their teenage years have a completely different metabolism than we do in our 30s, 40s, and 50s. So they don't need to eat like adults. They don't need to get involved with a fad diet such as keto or intermittent fasting. They need to eat healthy foods on the regular. And that's what this nutrition guideline will be about. So the coaches can send that to the kids, and the kids can also get the physical paper from me in the weight room. Preparing, if you're an incoming freshman or you haven't been to the weight room yet, or perhaps you haven't been doing much during this quarantine, you want to work on calisthenics for both upper and lower body. So playgrounds are closed. I know that's challenging, but all kinds of push-up variations. If you could do pull-ups, you get a doorway pull-up bar. If playgrounds are open, you use the monkey bars. Recline row, if you have a TRX or suspension trainer where you're rowing, working the back. Lunges of all types. Forward lunge, reverse lunge, lateral lunge, walking lunges, lunge jumps, squats and squat jumps. Learning how to do a proper body weight squat and proper body weight push-up is one of the most important exercises, or the 2 most important exercises that give us the foundation to move to some more advanced training. Jumping rope, get a beaded jump rope, order it on Amazon and jump rope every day for 5 minutes. Any of these body weight movements are extremely beneficial and powerful. Sprinting, whether it's sprint from one telephone pole to the next, walk back, hill sprints on grass are excellent. And then if you are a track and field athlete, you could add running that's specific to the runs you're going to do. So if you're a distance runner, you're going to do a 2 mile or a 5K or a 5 mile or a 10K, but you should also do sprints, and you should also do these body weight strength and conditioning movements. You could do time-specific runs. So if you are a 400-meter runner, you would do 400-meter sprints with proper recovery. If you're a wrestler, you would do 400-meter sprint with an incomplete recovery. And during this quarantine time, kids would email me with the equipment they had in their garage or basement, and then I would give them a modified program to follow at home. So I'm a support system for your family, whether I'm in school, whether things are shut down or not. Learn about let's go back to that. Learn about proper technique. So not everything on YouTube is going to be accurate, but there's some good books out there. I've got a book out called The Encyclopedia of Underground Strength. It's also on Kindle, but you could pick that book up. But there's a lot of books where you could just learn proper body weight training technique. And some of you are lucky at home. You've got some light dumbbells, kettlebells, and things of that. You could do dumbbell squats, dumbbell clean and press, dumbbell row, dumbbell lunges. Those exercises, the basic exercises done correctly, are great. We've got 4 times a year for training. We've got the off season when nothing is going on and we could get a lot of work in and train hard. We've got the preseason where we want to really focus on speed, power, and also improving sport technique. So the athlete needs to start practicing sport technique, because the most important thing to be successful at sport is doing the sport itself. Then we have in season. This is when we utilize short workouts, and these training days revolve around the competition schedule. So some teams train 3 days a week short in season, twice a week short in season. And last year it proved to be tremendously impactful on all the athletes, not just physically, but their confidence and their mindset just went through the roof. Then we have the postseason, which is a time where we want to rebuild some muscle, lower the intensity a little bit, alleviate the stress of the joints, and also alleviate the emotional stress. So we have a different training program for postseason. Every workout is going to include a proper warm-up where I'm also able to assess the athletes. I assess how they're moving. It lets me see, I could see how they're moving and see what are their energy levels like. Are they high energy? That means we're going to be able to go high energy when we move into the weight room or doing our sprints outside. Are they low energy? Do they seem a little bit out of it? I assess that, and then I might adjust what's going on inside the weight room. The assessment also lets me see the way their body is moving, if there's certain areas that they don't have good flexibility, good mobility, poor strength, poor coordination, and that lets me know what to work on with that group of athletes or that individual athlete. So the warm-up starts morphing into an athletic training session, essentially. It covers coordination, stability of the joints. So when we might do jump training where they have to land on one foot, stability where they're doing a push-up walk on their hands to work on joint stability of the shoulders, the elbows, the trunk. A lot of people call this, core training. Then it morphs into speed work, power training, agility, change of direction. And the warm-up also improves their flexibility and mobility, although I encourage kids every night, every other night, to do 10 minutes of stretching at home or rolling out on a foam roller. But at night, the static stretching helps calm the body, and some athletes need to utilize static stretching. We don't do static stretching before we train, although it's not completely out of the norm. But all the training that we do is focused on building overall athleticism. When they're in the weight room, that's where we're building strength, putting on muscle. And for parents that are worried, is my son or daughter going to get too big? If it was that easy, we'd have a bunch of 250-pound athletes walking around the high school. It's actually not that easy, and it's going to take a lot of work. So no worries on your son or daughter getting too big. Okay, next one. Move this out of the way here. Overall, I just mentioned this. My role as the sport performance coach is to develop athleticism. So I'm going to help your son or daughter build physical and mental traits that improves their ability in sports. But how do they really get better at sports? That comes up to the athlete practicing his or her sport, mom and dad helping your son or daughter go to any sport-specific training they need, and then the sport coach teaching your son or daughter the skill of that sport. That's going to be the key. So we are not the end-all be-all. We are a piece of the puzzle. Last but not least, consistency is going to be the most crucial aspect if success is going to happen. So if your son or daughter shows up for 2 to 3 weeks, disappears for 2 to 3 weeks, we're getting that roller coaster effect, and we're going to get nowhere. It also, from a team perspective, slows down the team. So we need the kids to work with one another to keep each other accountable and to keep showing up. I tell them, showing up puts you 100% ahead of just going home and not doing the work. Uphold a standard of excellence at all times. So I tell the kids, I go, look, I don't lie anymore. I am type A. So I'm crazy about safety, about being a listener, about things being clean in the weight room, about things being organized. Last year was the first year that Middletown Township, both on the south end for me and on the north end, have brought in professional strength and conditioning. And so I've done a lot of organization and upgrading in there, and we plan to do a lot more upgrading. And I'm definitely going to be reaching out to parents to set up a club so we could really do some special things in this weight room and turn it into a place that can really be the standard of excellence, not just in Middletown, not just in New Jersey, but really like what does a school with great strength and sports performance look like? That's what I want, and we all want it at the High School South. And the other thing I want to talk about here, you see right here, it says being coachable. So I tell kids, don't take things personally when I'm coaching you. I have to coach you sometimes in a way where that it shows you that you need to get better. And that's what we're all trying to do. We make each other better. And so your son or daughter has to be coachable, has to be willing to learn. Of course, we need great effort, and leadership means sometimes you're leading the group. Other times, somebody else is leading to the group, but you're a great teammate. And so we need leaders, not just from the upperclassmen, but from freshmen through seniors. We need everybody to be leaders versus 4 followers and 4 leaders and 28 followers. Everybody's going to be a leader. Communication. If your son or daughter has an injury or has been injured, or maybe they're a little bit worried and don't want to come in at a certain time, they can find me in person, of course, and then of course they can email me, or you can email me, and I'm real easy to speak with, of course. So for me, everything revolves around the kids. So ultimately, what I tell the coaches and what I tell parents and what I tell everybody is I'm going to be very black and white with decision making for the kids. Is it a benefit for the kids? If it is and it's safe, I will do it. Is it not a benefit? Is it not safe for the kids? If it's not, then I will not go down that route. So that's it. I want to thank you for your time. Again, I'm Zach Evanish. I'm the strength and conditioning coach at High School South. And if your son or daughter's coming in, welcome. And if they're coming back as a sophomore, junior, senior, welcome back. I'm looking forward to having a great year, and I'm just excited. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you soon.